Welcome back to Beam City Sports.
Beam City Sports.
Again, not on 96.5 FM, but another special episode in the backyard bar, Beam City Sports Bar. Here we go, another fun episode. A lot to talk about. The Kings looking good once again. The Doug Christie era has started here in Sacramento. But let's jump into it. Mitchell's Man of the Week.
Always starting off hot. We're going to show some love to one of my favorite players in the league, Russell Westbrook. Not the flashiest of stats, obviously, over the last week, but he joins the list of elite people, only two people, though, Nikola Jokic and Domantas Sabonis, on getting a perfect triple-double. 16 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and 4 steals in this game. This is, one of my favorite players, like you know already.
You've always said it. Explosive,
always has the respect of anybody he's playing. Anybody's going to guard him. And then also, in the last, I think they're 9-2 over every game that he started.
Yeah.
That's what, that's not a small sample size. So we already know that he makes an effect on this Denver Nuggets team. And then, filling in for Jamal Murray, like you say, he rides off Jokic all the time. So, Russell Westbrook, I love that he's still doing this, finding an effective role on a championship Nuggets team.
Yeah, Westbrook, there was questions of him and Jokic being a good, duo coming into the year, them fitting together, but like you said, 9-2 when he starts in that lineup. So Denver is going to continue putting him in that starting lineup, even with Jamal Murray. Once they get fully healthy, I think they should still rock with him in that lineup. If you're winning, why change it up? So,
exactly.
Yeah.
He's also averaging almost 2 steals a game this season, which is a lot of people hate on his defense sometimes, but he's still being a lockdown defender no matter what, making an effect all the time.
Yeah. You like Russ, Steph?
I like Russ. I like Russ on the Nuggets. I think, especially when he's not starting, he's low-key perfect coming in off the bench, just bringing the energy right away. So, and I'm glad he's doing good starting, and him and Nikola Jokic are coming together like that.
Yeah.
I have more to say on Russ later, so I'm gonna hold it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Denver looking good with, Westbrook in that starting lineup. But let's move on to Ty's take of the week. Staying in Sacramento. Once again, it's a new year, 2025. Got to bring the positive energy in 2025. And I'm going to say my take of the week is that the Sacramento Kings are going to go on a run and get back over 500, get back in that playoff contention. We need it here in Sacramento. Let's start lighting the beam a lot more. 2 wins in a row. Doug Christie getting this team fired up, and I'm loving it. So let's jump into the Kings.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love this take. This is getting me fired up. I'm definitely. Don't give up. There's a lot of people already giving up right now. So I'm glad you're on ship, and it's I'm not jumping ship. I'm going down with it if we do go down. But I don't see it going down. I'm agreeing with this take 100%.
Yeah.
I already love the energy shift. I feel like you could feel through the TV these last couple of nights, especially the last couple of wins. Doug taking them up to the beam and giving out the deep hog crown up there, and then giving them that little speech. I'm ready to run through a wall, bro. So I agree with you. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready to run through a wall too. Hearing what Doug Christie, saying to this team. What'd you see last night? You were at the game.
I'm over here falling.
Uh-oh.
That's why I'm distracted. But the game. I attended the game. Game was fine. I was worried for a little bit. I did think they were gonna slip through and give it up to a Embiid-less Sixers, but they ended on a 15-0 run, which was huge. De'Aaron definitely carried. He had a crazy game, and my mom, who doesn't really watch basketball, she's just like, number 5 is the only one who can score, which was true.
It was true for a big portion of that game.
The only one scoring, but that's kind of what you need from the Kings when they're still trying to figure out kind of rotations, and especially with Doug Christie, who else can step up for the Kings when they need to. And so honestly, I liked the lineup at the end of the game with Trey Lyles in over DeMar, and then when DeMar played the last 2 minutes, why not? Because DeMar's probably on the bench like, I should be in there.
Yeah.
So he probably had a little fire under him to prove that he should be playing those clutch minutes.
Yeah, since Doug Christie has taken over in these last 3 games, it's been 2-1 record with Doug as the head coach so far. Got to give Mike Brown a shout out though. He coached his heart out here in Sac. I didn't think it was his fault. It was a weird firing, but we got to move on. Got to deal with what we have right now, but it's hard to hate on Mike Brown, you know.
He installed a culture here that, like, I mean, it was a whole culture change. Somewhere where we haven't been in 16 years, 17 years. So, yeah, it's definitely, like, we have to give him his love, his respect, everything. I mean, definitely a unprofessional way of doing things, for sure, the way we fired him.
Yeah.
So, I don't know whose decisions they were and when they were made, but, it is unfortunate that we signed him to a $30 million extension over 3 years. But yeah, time to move on. Something had to change. We felt something coming, and unfortunately, this was what happened.
Yeah, still got love for Mike Brown, but, you know, let's start this Doug Christie era and let's get some momentum going. But, you know, something I noticed from Doug Christie so far, taking over as the head coach, like you mentioned, a good point, not playing DeMar as many minutes. And, you know, last year in the NBA, we saw it on our Kahoot last week, DeMar DeRozan led the NBA in minutes. And before, you know, Mike Brown got fired, he was up there in minutes again, and, like, you know, up in the league. Him, Keegan, and De'Aaron were all up in the top 10 in minutes per game. And I would just think we're a faster team without DeMar on the floor at some points. Trey Lyles last night was the MVP in my opinion. He was the MVP of that game, making impact plays, getting so many rebounds that were crucial. You know, with Domas out of the game, him playing that small ball 5, I love him playing that small ball 5, spacing the floor, getting those tough rebounds, and, you know, he had 12 points, 4 for 8 from 3, so that was my MVP last night.
I'm gonna agree on that, and then I'm gonna extend it into the game before against the Mavericks. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but the last 2 games he's brought some sort of energy to this whole team that has kind of lit a fire. He's getting back on track with his shooting, which I hope bleeds into Keegan Murray and Kevin Huerter.
Yep.
But yeah, no, Trey Lyles, I'm a big fan of him, and unfortunately, like, he's kind of on the trade talks right now. So, like, him getting hot right now, his trade stock is going up. So, I don't know, his name might be put out there a little bit more. But, yeah, he's definitely come up big for us and kind of been the key for these wins.
I hope they don't trade him, because it's seeming like it's more trade days here in Sacramento, like Kyle Draper says.
I think it really started that Pistons game that we were at.
Yeah,
we saw him,
it did.
And I think he had 21 that game, something like that, with 4 threes.
His revenge
and so
game.
he was cooking, but he had that ankle injury. It finally looks like he's getting back to in basketball shape. You know, the ankle injury, you're not able to really condition yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So he looked really kind of slow the first few weeks of the season, first couple of months, but now it looks like he's right back up in that basketball energy, and his shot looks great right now. So keep throwing him up.
Did you hear what Malik said I think it was 2 games ago now? Yeah, he said, yeah, Trey wasn't getting going after that injury because he was still fat, and now he's lost some lbs. He lost some pounds, and now he does look a lot faster out there than he did earlier in the year, and he looks like he's playing hard as always, and the shots are finally falling.
That's what Malik said?
Yeah, Malik said he was fat. He said that.
Nicer way.
He did. No, that's exactly what he said. But yeah, De'Aaron Fox, 35 points on 13 of 16 field goal attempts. Only 3 missed shots for De'Aaron Fox. 2 of them were behind the arc. So
81%.
Man, De'Aaron Fox putting on, showing Tyrese Maxey who the better point guard is.
And they were all before the fourth quarter, where he had 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Came right out in the fourth quarter and just started looking to get to his spots. And you're not going to be able to stop him if he's really that determined to get to his spots in the mid-range. Nobody's quick enough to cut him off without it being a foul or anything like that. So
yeah,
I love when he comes out aggressive. I wish he would do that earlier in the game. I think everybody does, but seeing him come out like that in the fourth quarter, it was like 2 years ago when he won the Clutch Player of the Year. That's what it felt like. You know, we got Fox on the floor. We're probably not going to lose this game.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point. Honestly, like, De'Aaron was the star of the show, but now that I'm thinking back of, like, what happened during the game, one thing that I noticed that I actually liked was, you know, when DeMar's, like, on the top of the key.
Yeah.
Or if they swing the ball to DeMar and he's just chilling at the three-point line, normally he's so hesitant to, like, take, and then he'll do, like, one dribble pull-up or something.
Yeah.
There's one play that he did where he caught the ball, he, like, read who was in front of him, no one was there, and he just took it to the rim. Like, he looked like he could have dunked it if he wanted to over the 2 guys. I think DeMar should definitely try and be more aggressive and get to the rim more.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I mean, he's obviously athletic enough to dunk on whoever, and if he's doing that, then, you know, the crowd in Sacramento is going to love that. And because, I mean, we haven't seen dunks in a minute. Like, Malik isn't dunking anymore.
Yeah.
Sabonis is the one who's dunking, but they're those, you know, he's right at the rim, he just dunks it. So. But yeah, I think DeMar should be more aggressive in terms of just getting to the rim.
For sure.
Because, I mean, no one can stop it. Like that play that he got downhill, got to the layup, and then if they're gonna stop you at the layup, then he can, take a little step back, do a little fadeaway, or even just do his mid-range pull-ups, because then that's gonna get him more in rhythm. That way, it's DeMar and Fox rather than just Fox carrying the load.
Yeah, and also if DeMar's getting to the rim, putting his head down, that's going to get him to the free throw line more. He's one of the best in the league at getting to the free throw line. And earlier in the year, I feel like he was making it a point to get, try and get 10 free throws a game. And that was really helping this team. We looked a lot better earlier in the year, and then we went on that cold stretch. And it was really DeMar was not getting to the line. He wasn't getting to the line at all. And now, let's hope he gets that rhythm back. And, seeing the ball go in from the free throw line really helps everything else just flow better.
Yeah.
If you see a couple go in at the line, everything else is going to work better.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, it kind of changes the pace of the game a little bit more, gives some people a little bit more time to, catch their breath a little bit. And I feel like that's kind of where we struggle a lot. We throw up these threes when we've been running around this whole time, especially on defense. We got to close out all the time on threes, and then we run down the court and we chuck a three up when we haven't, kind of gathered ourselves. We haven't talked. We haven't been communicating at all. There's a lot of, I feel like there's the chemistry in this team is lacking a little bit right now, just on the court.
Not the last two games.
Not the last two games.
Yeah. Let's remember, two in a row.
Not the last two games.
Has a lot to do with Doug Christie forcing them to hold each other accountable on the court.
Yeah.
But I will have to say, both of these teams have been short-handed. The first game, no Kyrie, no Clay, and no Luka.
Yeah.
And then this game, no Embiid, no Jared McCain, and I think there was one other person.
Oubre, yeah.
So these are short-handed teams that we're kind of squeaking by right now. So.
I just want to say before
a win is a win.
Before we continue, I bought these tickets so long ago. I was expecting Jared. I was expecting Embiid, even Kelly Oubre, and of course Embiid's resting. He's gonna rest. Unfortunately, McCain out for the year. And then somehow Kelly Oubre also isn't playing, so I'm out there watching PG and Tyrese Maxey with fucking whoever else is out there. And so, it was still fun, but definitely I wanted to see everyone else, mainly McCain, but Embiid's always fun to watch when he's healthy and when he's doing good. But
I also got to call.
Very unfortunate.
I called it last night.
Oh yeah, he did.
I said Paul George is going to have the best game of the season. And he did.
He did.
The best game of the season.
For sure, he did.
It was, kind of predictable with all those stars out. It's just,
I don't know, because Paul George has been so bad all year.
Yeah, but
I would think it's more of a Maxey game. I was more worried about Tyrese Maxey.
It was kind of a Tyrese
It was
Maxey.
in the second half, but in the first half, PG had 20 points in the first half. He hasn't done that all year. He hasn't done that in a couple of years, if we're being honest. Yeah.
He just, it looked good. I like Paul George. I hyped up this Sixer team earlier in the year.
He was out there playing defense, too, on the other end.
Yeah.
But too short, obviously, in the end. So that's amazing.
Shout out Too Short. Also, shout out Randy Payne. Just got here in the building. Shout out Arman.
We're going to have to dock you on that.
So also I wanted to mention that Bobby Jackson and Rico Hines are both on that Philadelphia 76ers bench. That was good to see. Bobby Jackson rocking that chain out there on the bench, assistant coach. Yeah, look at Bobby. And, they were talking about it, Bobby Jackson, Doug Christie meeting before the game, old teammates, of course, Sacramento legends. So happy to see both of them doing so well in the coaching world.
It's pretty awesome seeing him over there.
So Keegan also, we have to mention, he was out with the injury last game. That, hopefully that lights a spark under him. I need to see more energy out of Keegan. He always plays so... He plays so lackluster. He doesn't have any energy. I know that's his mentality. That's his personality. That's who he is. But I need more. I need more out of Keegan. And if the shots aren't going to fall, then you need to provide some more energy for this team if you want to play minutes.
Yes.
Because like I mentioned earlier, he is up in the league in minutes per game, top 5 in the league minutes per game, Keegan Murray. So
he does affect the ball in other ways.
Defensively, he's been very good. Yeah.
But we need him to hit those shots like last year when he was a 38% shooter or 40% shooter last year. Now he's down into 30%, 29%.
29, yeah.
Yeah. So, if he could, after this injury, I might even call it an injury. Maybe he's on a little break right now. It could be a little rest, trying to get him caught up again. But if he can come back and hit, 3 threes a game, 4 threes a game for us in this next stretch, I think we'll win all of them. I think he is one of the keys to this team's success for sure.
Yeah, if the shots start falling for Keegan, that changes this whole team. Changes this whole team because we've been so bad from three-point land all year.
Yep.
You know, on the defensive end and on the offensive end.
Yep.
Can't guard the three, can't shoot the three. I've been saying it all year. So hopefully the shots start falling for Keegan.
I think we're also like the leading team in games lost by 5 points or less.
Yeah.
So if we could hit these threes, then we'll win all of those.
Yeah.
All of those games.
You know who did hit the threes last night? Our boy, Keon Ellis. 9
big.
points, 3 of 8 from 3. You know, 4 steals and 2 blocks for Keon. I listened to his post-game interview with Deuce and Mo, and he said every time he's open, he knows he's going to get these shots. He's not going to hesitate. Even if he misses 2 in a row, 3 in a row, he still has that confidence in him, and you saw it at the end of the game. Such a clutch shot. Kings were down 5. Kicked it out to Keon Ellis, wide open from the 3. I'm pretty sure he missed 2 straight wide open threes before that.
Yeah.
Had the confidence, knocked it down, and that was a huge shot in this game. We wouldn't have won this game without that shot.
Wouldn't have won the game without him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing really free right now. I feel like maybe, I don't want to say, but maybe it was a little bit in his head, the Mike Brown, how he got used with Mike, and now that it's Doug Christie, and maybe it's the Keegan injury too, that he knows he can go out there and he's going to get his minutes, and he knows what his role is going to be, that he's able to play a little bit more free in that and be more himself. And I want him to keep shooting.
Oh, yeah.
One of the best shooters on the team statistically this year. I think he should keep shooting.
He started.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
loved
you
seeing
got
Keon in that starting lineup. We went small, DeMar playing that 4. I was a little iffy on it, but I loved seeing Keon out there. That was my main thing. I think we need... You know, never mind. Let me not say that because we won 2 in a row. Because I was going to say, I've been pushing to put Malik back on the bench and throw Keon in that starting 2-guard spot. When Keegan comes back, let's see how it goes. I think Doug needs to entertain, you know, the thought of putting Malik back on that bench because,
Did Keon start against the Mavericks?
No.
No.
So, I mean, maybe I could be wrong here on this, but Philly was undersized because they didn't have Embiid.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Yabusele was their starting center. That's probably why he was comfortable putting Keon at the starting.
Very good point.
And putting DeMar at the 4.
Yeah.
So, it could be Doug Christie, you know, just switching up the lineups based on size. But who knows? Like maybe Keon starts again next game, or if not, maybe Trey Lyles starts to add size. Like you know, he could just be playing with it in terms of matchups.
I think Trey Lyles I don't think he will start because I don't think they have a lot of trust in Alex Len right now, and there's not really a backup big on the team that they have that much trust in. So you really see Trey playing the small ball 5 a lot to give Domas his rest. So I don't think he'll start, but I think they'll throw Keegan back in there. I really do like the 3-guard lineup, Keon, Monk, and De'Aaron. With whatever the other 2 are, it doesn't really matter to me, but I just love the energy of those 3 out there when they're on the court together.
That's one thing they're going to bring is the energy. And honestly, with Doug Christie last night in that comeback, the defense was the main part, and that got me so excited because they're trapping the pick and roll players. You know, PG's at half court. 2 guys are on him trapping. They get the steal. It's just so exciting to watch, and that's Doug Christie basketball right there. That's, you know, how Doug used to play back in the day. Playing with that intensity, playing hard on defense. Who cares if you foul? Let's play hard.
Yep.
That's all you got to do. And what Alex say, that benching DeMar for those couple of minutes lit a fire under him. He came back in and made the last 2 defensive plays to win the game. So you were probably right there, and I love seeing that effort from DeMar on defense. Yeah.
Probably DeMar's first defensive player of the game, if we're being honest.
So maybe a second, but I think it's his first.
Okay, so
that it definitely scared me when they started closing out and trapping them up top. I was like, someone's going to be open.
Yeah.
Someone's going to be open right now. And everybody was hot last night at the 3-point line for the Sixers.
Yeah.
So it just took one little kind of pass over the top, and someone could have grabbed it and hit up the 3. But Keon and DeMar both coming up at the right time, trapping him. There was one where Malik came up and grabbed the ball and stepped out of bounds, and everybody got a whole reset. That was a big stop right there. And then I think right after that, Keon turned around and hit a 3, which was huge. So that defensive intensity that we had last night is what we have been wanting the whole season. Right at the end, we haven't been able to come up big with these stops. And last night we came up with 3, 4 like in a row. Huge stops.
You know what else we came up with last night is those 50-50 balls. You know.
The 50-50.
The 50-50 balls are determined by who wants it more. Who wants it more? And last night in the 4th quarter, the Kings wanted it more. And De'Aaron Fox, there was late in the game, the Sixers weren't fouling. They were trying to trap. The Kings were up 2. De'Aaron lost the ball. And that's Kings basketball right there all season. That's a turnover waiting to happen. And, you know, the Kings last night with Doug Christie lighting a fire under them. They got that 50-50 ball, got it to Malik. He got fouled, hit the free throws, and that's the game right there. So I want to see more of that. Get those 50-50 balls. Let's go. Let's play with that energy. Doug Christie mentality.
21 rebounds.
21
I think 9 of them were offensive rebounds.
Big. Domas also finished with his right hand last night. Let's give a clap up for Domas.
The first shot of the night was a right-hand layup from Domas.
We've been talking about it all year. He's been struggling with that right hand, but, good to see one go in.
Definitely. I feel like...
Shout out Domas, because I had him over 5.5 assists, and he hit that. So
You know he's going to hit that. That's a lock right there.
Yep.
Kevin Huerter, big story in this one. 1 of 8 from the field. I got to say, I think Kev played very good defense, though. Also grabbed 5 rebounds. I've been hating on Kev a little too much, I think. Even if the shots aren't falling, he still plays hard. He gets some blocks,
does play
plays good defense. He gets a lot of deflections. He has long arms. He's 6'7", so he can guard multiple positions. I think his defense is underrated at this point.
I've definitely noticed it for sure. It's definitely taken a step up since last year.
Well,
but he's not a defensive guy. I mean, he is a defensive guy that we need. We need all the defense that we can get. But we really need him not to be 1 for 8 and missing all these threes.
We need some threes to start falling, but the defense is
honestly, his defense isn't bad, but literally the second he got subbed into the game, Paul George just went after him. Was like, I'm taking advantage of the matchup, and I think he literally first possession just cooked him. I told my dad, I was like, yep, Herter comes in and PG's just attacking that right away.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're not wrong. He did play really well defensively. Like, I think he had a couple deflections, got good rebounds. But yeah, I think as Kings fans, we really prefer Herter to just score and shoot because that's what we're missing.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been able to do that, so I feel like that's why, Kings fans are so criticizing of Kevin Herter. But I mean, it's tough because, like you said, if Keegan is able to shoot the ball better, he's probably going to take all of Kev's minutes.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's like, let's just get rid of him.
Devin Carter getting healthy, coming back is probably going to take some of those too. Like, he really
read my mind
only
right
played
there,
that many minutes last night because they had no Keegan.
Yeah.
And no Devin Carter.
In Devin Carter, 29 points in his G League debut. Really hope he plays that next game against Memphis. And I think if he can knock down some shots like he was doing in Stockton, or it was at Golden 1 before Stockton, that it's going to be huge for this team. And I can see lineups where you're playing Devin Carter and Keon Ellis out on the floor.
Yeah.
The energy out there is going to be, second to none.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And both those guys can hit some shots.
Oh, yeah.
I think it could be huge for this team.
He hit 6 threes in the Golden 1. I've seen enough already.
I've seen enough already. Start him.
It's damn near. Get him on the team.
I think that's more threes in one game that any Kings player has hit
in Golden 1.
In Golden 1 this season.
Wow, that's
what
probably
stood
true.
out to me. I was like, he hit 6?
Yeah.
I've seen enough.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's more than anybody has hit on the Kings this season. So
yeah. Well, also Doug McDermott is struggling with his shot from 3. Every time he gets in the game, he immediately gets a shot up, which I like to see. As a shooter, you got to get some shots up to feel comfortable, but his shot just looks flat right now. I don't think he has any legs under his shot. And if Doug can get, all he needs is to see one go in. And I feel him as a shooter. When you come in, if you see one shot go in, your whole mentality has changed. Your whole thought process has changed. If you see one shot go in. And it's just been a tough time for Doug to see that one go in.
Yeah.
I think if he gets one to fall, it's going to change.
How about fucking driving to the rim and get a layup?
That's not Doug's game, though. That's not Doug's game.
It wasn't Duncan Robinson's game, but the reason shooters need to do that is, bro, because like you're saying, you just need to see the ball go in the hoop.
Get to the line.
If you get a layup, that's going to change, because then it's like, oh, I got a layup, now let me shoot a 3. I'm already in rhythm. I'm warm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, for him, it's not his game, but adapt. Shoot a mid-range jumper or something. One dribble pull-up. If they know you're a shooter, they're all going to close out to you. Drive. Maybe shoot a mid-range jumper, and if it goes in, then it's like, okay, let me start pulling from 3. And because if you can shoot a mid-range jumper and make it, then you can easily adapt and shoot a 3-pointer with legs because you know the distance, the difference. And so it's like, for him, I just think he got to be able to do more than just come in the game and shoot, because also it's really hard when you haven't played a single minute to just come in and chuck up a shot, and if you miss, you're cooked. Like, coach is gonna take you out. So that's why for him it's tough, because obviously he hasn't been making it, so Doug Christie is forced to take him out. His role is strictly to shoot.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, and I think you're right about that. If he can see a mid-range jumper or even get to the line, that would really help his game. And I think he also played with good energy on the defensive end last night. I think Doug and Herter both held their own, played hard, brought some energy, and I think the defense wasn't the problem with them last night. I think we just need both those guys to hit some damn shots.
Yeah.
Hit a shot, Kev. Hit a shot, Doug.
Well,
we need it.
I feel like that's something that Kevin's been good at for, well, really the last couple of years, since he hasn't been shooting as well as he usually is, his whole career before that. But it's him like going in and taking those little mid-range pull-ups. Like even if he doesn't make them all the time, he's willing to give him an up fake and then drive past and either go for a layup or take that little pull-up from the elbow. So I will give him that. I feel like Doug, he should learn from him in a little bit of that, like you're saying, Alec, and I feel like that would help him out for sure.
Yeah, I think that would be big for this Kings team. And, with Devin Carter coming back, I really hope he comes back next game. Next game is against Memphis at home. Going to be a fun matchup. We love seeing... Oh, no jaw.
No jaw.
So, De'Aaron, better go to work. But Jaren Jackson's been playing out of his mind lately. Yeah. He had 38 points the other night, and so is Desmond Bane. So
Zach Edey's
also
doing pretty good, too. Zach Edey's number 3 in Rookie of the Year.
Okay, yeah.
Right now.
And our boy Jalen Wells. From Folsom.
His return to Sac.
Yeah, his return to Sac will probably have a lot of family in the building. Don't be surprised if he gets a lot of shots up that game. Yeah.
Green type whenever he comes to Sac.
Oh yeah, Jalen Green also, because he's from Fresno, right? Yeah. So he always has family come down, and there's a stat that Jalen Green, that's his. Against the Kings, he averages the most points in his career against that team by far. So
why are there like 5 players in the league that average the most points?
Like
it's crazy, yeah. And last night you called it with Paul George. Mm-hmm. You called it with Paul George. He's been struggling all year, but if you're a struggling, star player, getting paid all that money, a game to get your rhythm back is coming to Golden One.
I'm trying to get some shots up in Golden One.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to see if it's really that easy.
Well, don't wear a Kings jersey, because then the shots aren't going to fall.
You're right.
But, okay, well, I think we should take our first break, and then we'll jump back into it when we get back. All right, we are back from our first break on Beam City Sports. Now we're going to be looking over how far the Kings are down in the standings. We're 13 games back of the number 1 spot, but only 2 games back of the 10 spot, and that's all you got to do to get in that play-in this year. So let's go on a little streak here. I see a streak coming, like my take of the week. We're going to go on a run.
Yep, I'm feeling it. Before All-Star break, I definitely feel like we will be up there on like the 10th or 9th seed.
Yeah.
We could easily catch like the Warriors.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The Warriors are struggling. We're going to get into that early. We're going to get into that later, but they are on a downhill slide, and it's Buddy Hield cycle.
How many games back you said from the 10?
2 games back from the 10 spot, and
the Lakers only had 18, T-Wolves only at 17, Spurs at 9, only at 17.
Yeah.
A lot of season left. And
people have been counting this out way too early, just because of the drama and just
doom and gloom.
Yeah, exactly. But that's how your team goes. Like when you add a superstar with like DeMar DeRozan, with like averaging that many minutes last year on a Bulls team that didn't really have anybody else. That's why he was averaging all those minutes. I wanted to say that earlier.
Yeah.
On a team that doesn't have any direction, you're gonna average that many minutes.
Yeah.
But then he has to find a new role here in Sacramento, being almost the 3rd option usually, sometimes the 4th option behind Malik.
Yeah.
It's definitely like you got to build chemistry.
It's an adjustment period.
I think we are coming on that time where it's going to happen, and we're going to get hot.
Yeah, I think Doug as the head coach has really, improved the DeMar play. And I think, like I said earlier, playing him less minutes is going to be more beneficial for this team. Because in the short spurts, DeMar is a bucket getter that we need. Mm-hmm. Sometimes our offense is not flowing. It's De'Aaron or nothing, and DeMar really helps take some pressure off sometimes. But also other times when the other team is on a big run, he's a big part of that run. Playing horrible defense, not guarding his guy, taking bad shots. So I think Doug Christie has really noticed that and decided to play him, instead of 38 minutes a night, maybe 31, 32 minutes a night. It's not going to hurt, and I think it's helping the team in the long run. But also,
that. What game was that? The game before last? Who'd they play?
Dallas. When they won?
Dallas, yeah. I mean, it was mostly because he was in a little bit of foul trouble, but I think he was out from the end of the third quarter to like the 5-minute mark in the fourth quarter, and they went on one of their best runs.
Yeah, a huge run with him out of the game. Yeah. But that's the story of this Kings team right now, is that we are a run-based team. It's a game of runs, but it's either we're on a 15-0 run to close it out, or the 76ers are on an 18-2 run to go up 15. It's like you can't. It's no middle ground with this team right now. It's either we're giving up a huge run or we're going on a huge run. It makes for exciting games. And I was watching the game with my girlfriend yesterday, and she watches every game with me, and she was like, it feels like every game is like this. It's like we're down 15, we come back, we make it interesting. It's like it can go either way in the end. And last night, the 50-50 balls were the difference in the end.
It's the Cardiac Kings.
Yeah.
Classic Cardiac Kings.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into the next part. I see you. I got a couple names on my list right now. Got to give it. Oh.
Before you go.
Okay.
Before you go. My ICU. This is hella random, but my ICU is going to be my fantasy football team. Shout out my team. I ended up losing in the championship game, but we had a great run. 20-8 on the year. First time in a 14-man league. I drafted extremely well. I just got unlucky in the championship game. So shout out Josh Allen, Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams, DK Metcalf, Scary Terry McLaurin, Brock Bowers, Brandon Aubrey,
who brought this
defense, along with the Broncos defense, and Baker Mayfield on my bench.
Hey, so you said you lost?
I did lose.
It don't mean a thing without a ring, bro. I'm sorry.
First year in the league.
Yeah,
First year in the league, I went 20-8. I mean, I had a great run, so I want to shout out my team.
The first losers, man. The first losers.
Hey, I'm coming for the championship next year, so just know that.
All right. Well, back to basketball.
How much money did you lose?
I won $60.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, second place get a little bit.
Wait, so what was the buy-in though?
Buy-in was like 28.
Okay.
It's a 14-man. So.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Cheers, Alex.
Hey, 14-man.
Yeah, that's impressive, actually. 14-man league. Yeah, okay, well, back to basketball. Tyler Kolek is my ICU for today.
Tell me why I was actually going to pick him.
Yeah.
Like, watching him play, just you say.
Okay.
Your ICU.
Well, yeah,
You
so
say.
yesterday, it was crazy. He played in the game for the G League Knicks team, had 36 points and I think 10 assists as well.
Yeah.
And they won in an overtime game in the G League. He had 36 points. Later in the night, Jalen Brunson is out with an injury. He comes and plays about 15 minutes for the Knicks last night, after playing in the G League the same day. So, shout out to Tyler Kolek. You know, he's a solid lefty like Brunson, and I love his game. I loved him coming into the draft, and I think him backing up Jalen Brunson, he's going to be a big part of this Knicks team in the future. I think Tom Thibodeau's going to have to play him more minutes coming up pretty soon. Yeah.
He had a big effect. Like, he affected everybody on the court, for sure. He was kind of dribbling the ball up the court, 5-10 times.
Yeah, he's comfortable.
And Mikal Bridges and everybody like that out on the court, and he's running around, kind of running down in the paint and then kicking it out to Mikal. He looked amazing, and I was kind of jealous. I wanted him coming off the bench for the Kings.
Yeah.
He was making a big effect for them, for sure.
Yeah, he's a solid guard. I love his game. What do you know about Tyler Kolek?
Honestly, not much, but I did see that last night, and honestly, that just is gonna give the Tom Thibodeau, how he just runs his players through the ground. That's just gonna give everyone, to show them that that's what Tom Thibodeau really does.
Yeah.
Everybody on that Knicks team plays heavy minutes. Even Brunson does, and so for him to be out, they're like, hey, this guy dropped 36 earlier. Yep, let's pull him up.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Let's have him play.
Crazy.
So, but no, I mean, he's definitely good. He'll definitely, like you guys are saying, he'll be able to provide a spot on the bench because they only play 7 or 8 guys on the bench. That's what Thibodeau does as well. And so I think, to have him come in for Brunson and then have Miles McBride come in for Josh Hart, because he's really usually the one that comes in for Brunson because, all those guys are interchangeable. They can all bring a ball up the floor, but if you have a true point guard on and then you have Miles McBride to come in as your shooter, then I think it provides more depth for the New York Knicks.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I also had some other names on here. I have a big list, but I'm only going to say 3. Cam Whitmore from the Houston Rockets. I said it before the year. I said he's going to have a breakout year, and he wasn't playing any minutes for this young Rockets team earlier in the year, and I was kind of disappointed. But the Rockets were winning. Can't complain if you're winning. But he's finally getting his time, and he's shining. And I think if the Rockets are, going to make a big move for a star. It's not going to be De'Aaron Fox. He's staying here in Sacramento. That's a damn fact. But Cam Whitmore is going to be a big part, and I think if he goes somewhere, maybe Brooklyn, maybe something like that, where he can take over as, the number one guy, he's going to shine.
I see that.
Cam Whitmore, yeah.
He was lacing shots last night against Dallas.
Yeah.
The thing that I've seen is that the reason the Rockets haven't really pulled the trigger on anyone yet is really because of Fred VanVleet. They don't know what to do with him.
Van Fleet?
Yeah. And so, is that not his name?
No, I'm kidding, yeah.
I thought I messed up.
No.
But, yeah, I mean, like, they got guys like even Reed Shepherd and, like, Cam Whitmore. Those are both point guards who could easily replace Freddie when the time's right. And so I think they're just trying to keep Cam Whitmore, growing as a player to where they feel comfortable enough to when it's time to either get rid of Freddie or trade him or do whatever they want to do with him. They have their point guard in Cam, and then they can develop Reed Shepherd to be their real true backup because that's the reason why he's not playing. It's the same deal, right? They have great players. They're all young.
Yeah.
You can't just throw Reed Shepherd in there, even though he's the number 3 pick. You can't just throw him in there. You got your whole squad, and Fred VanVleet's your starting point guard, who's still a really good veteran point guard.
And getting a bag.
Exactly.
Getting paid. Yeah. But yeah, I think Cam Whitmore is going to be a star in this league. I said it before the year, and I just love his game. Also, another guy, before we move on, is A.J. Mitchell from the Oklahoma City Thunder, another rookie. Late in the draft, OKC just finds their guys, and he just fits in with this team so perfectly. They also drafted Nikola Topic, who's out for the year. He was supposed to be one of the top draft picks coming in. But A.J. Mitchell looks like the steal of the draft, besides Jalen Wells, of course. But A.J. Mitchell is that guy for OKC. Watch out for him when they make the playoffs, because he's going to be playing real minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right, well, should we move on to the main topic of today's show? One New Year's resolution for all 30 NBA teams.
I like this.
do it.
All right.
I got more resolutions for NBA teams than I do for myself.
Pull up the notes.
Okay, well, whoever wants to start, we can get it going.
Should we start like west all the way down and east, or should we just roll with whatever?
You know what? We're all going to start with the Kings. We all have one for the Kings.
All right.
Oh, I know.
So, okay, well,
You gotta
Devin,
follow one quick.
start down the
Make it
line.
up in the time.
Yeah.
My Kings New Year's resolution is, I don't want to say they already made the move to fire Mike Brown. I don't want to say just stand pat and ride out with Doug Christie. I think they have to make a move. I would probably say trading whatever it takes, as long as it's not. I would say as long as it's more picks than it is players like Keon or Devin Carter or anything like that. But I think they got to do whatever it takes to go get a Cam Whitmore.
Johnson.
Just to what?
Cam Johnson.
Cam
Cam Johnson.
Yeah,
Sorry, we
you're
were just
fine.
talking about Cam.
Yeah.
Because the Lakers already went and got DFS, and that was kind of the story of the year last year for the
So
Kings,
mad
was
about
they
that.
waited until the deadline to go get somebody, and then everybody was gone by the time they really started doing their searching. So I'd say go do it, whatever it takes to get it done, just go get it done right now.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
We are the front runners right now for Cam Johnson and all the reports recently. We've been in contact with him for a while, so hopefully we can pull the trigger on something, but hopefully it's not something too big.
Yeah, like
you
that's
said.
the only thing. And if it's something too crazy, then I might not be that happy with it. But just go get it done. I feel like a change like that needs to be made. A new player. We already got rid of Mike, whether he deserved it or not. So just go get it done.
But now, they just won 2 games in a row. It's like,
Yeah.
you can't trade Trey Lyles right now.
You can trade Kevin Herter, though.
Definitely can trade Kevin Herter.
And I will
Colby Jones.
Colby Jones
couple
and
of
get rid of
picks.
first
Get
round
rid
picks
of
as it
Jordan
takes to get rid of
McLaughlin,
them.
bro. Just get rid
Yeah.
of all these
DFS
guys.
went for what, 3 second-round picks in a player? Like,
That made me
are the
very
Nets
mad.
just trying to blow it up at the
Yeah.
same time?
Oh, yeah, they are.
About
We
it,
do
then-
have to get rid of an extra player too, because Orlando Robinson, and then they're
Get rid
on a
of him,
2-way
bro.
contract.
Get rid of him.
We can get rid of them.
Well,
Fine.
yeah. But no, I'm just saying, and then Isaac Jones too. We want to sign him to a full contract.
Man,
Doug hasn't
he
even
doesn't
played.
see the floor
He
anymore.
doesn't see the floor anymore.
It doesn't make sense.
It's pretty
But
unfortunate.
And no backup bigs.
2 wins in a row. Can't complain too much.
All right.
But, yeah.
I guess my New Year's resolution for the Kings. For me, we just have to be up to the 7th seed or 8th seed by All-Star break.
That could happen.
7th or 8th seed by All-Star break. I'm keeping it short and clean.
Wishful thinking. But
Basically, just get to 500.
Get to 500.
I'd love to be at 500
by All-Star break.
yeah. Okay. I like that.
It's doable.
Doable, but
Yeah.
with how, I mean, it's questionable right now.
Yeah.
It's
Hey,
questionable.
that's doable but questionable.
Yeah.
Doable, but questionable.
Okay, well, I have a couple for the Kings. The first one, stop leaving three-point shooters wide open. It shouldn't be that hard to just guard your guy. I'd rather them get a tough mid-range shot than a wide open corner three.
Three-point defense.
Saw it so much last night, especially in the first half. Leaving guys wide open from the three-point line in today's NBA, it's not going to work.
No, the modern NBA,
yeah.
that whole thing that everybody's talking about right now, it's not going to work. We're not going to win games.
Yeah.
And we're not going to get to the playoffs.
Yeah. All right. Well, another one. Start the Doug Christie era. Play with heart. Last night, that is what we saw, and that's how we got the win. Playing with that heart. Playing with that grit. Like you said last week, Kings haven't been playing with grit all year. Now, I finally see some grit on this team, and I really want to keep seeing it.
Maybe Doug's installing the early 2000 Kings to this Kings.
That feisty defensive energy, yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, silently, Chris Webber averaged, 22 points, 23 points a game.
Yeah.
We need that one silent killer right there to kind of will us over and have the whole team together behind him.
And that moves on to the last part. Show De'Aaron you need him and want him to stay in Sacramento.
Yep.
And if you're winning games, that's all that it's going to take is to win games. He's going to stay. So, bottom line, that's my New Year's resolution for the Kings.
Fair.
Yeah.
I like those.
You got one?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, okay.
You
So,
can have one of Tyler's.
Devin, we're starting with you.
All right.
Houston Rockets. Your New Year's resolution for the Houston Rockets.
So the Rockets, to me, are in a really good position right now.
They are.
Third in the West.
They are.
They got a lot of young guys. Most of them we were just talking about with your guys of the week and your ICUs and all that. So I think they're in a very good spot. Wait to see what happens to the trade deadline, and then if there's no moves to make and there's nothing to really do, you're still sitting at third. I think you ride it out the rest of the way to the playoffs, and you see what happens in the playoffs, kind of like a Kings team, a young Kings team a couple years ago.
Yeah.
If there is moves to make after the playoff series that are glaring, the offseason is when they should go and do it. But I think just riding it out and letting the young guys go crazy and just seeing if you can win a playoff series, and I think that's
I love
what
it.
they should do.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah.
like that.
They don't need to make any moves. I don't think they need to move on from any young guys right now to go get a star. Like you said, go to the playoffs, see what you
make
need.
somebody overpay you for one of your young guys. If you
exactly. Yeah. Well, I like that. Okay. All right, moving on to Luke.
All right.
The Orlando Magic.
For sure, I'll start with the Magic.
All right.
Right now, they just need to, once their core is back, they got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
That's all they need.
It's a big one for them.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Obviously, right now, they can't stay healthy because they aren't. But once Paolo and Franz and Mo are back, Orlando's going to be scary. So,
for sure.
I guess my other New Year's resolution for them is keep winning without them right now. That's all you got to ask for is keep winning without them. Once Paolo's back, who is probably pretty soon, before
Hopefully
All-Star
soon,
break, that's his target.
It's been so long.
Yeah, and then Mo Wagner, I don't think it's as serious an injury than as Franz. Franz is still going to be out for probably another few weeks, something like that. But stay healthy and keep winning without them. That's all they need.
I love it.
And then I think they're going to propel up to the third seed. They're in fourth right now, right behind the Knicks, a few games behind them. But I think they're going to stay up there in the top of the list for the East.
Yeah, you said that was the biggest threat to Boston in the East, so I like it. And I love the culture they have over there in Orlando right now. It's fun to be a Magic fan. All right, well, moving on to me. I'm going to start with the Golden State Warriors. I think it's glaring right now that a change needs to be made. They started the year so hot. Buddy Hield came out firing, shooting 55% from three to start the year, averaging over 20 points a game off the bench for them, and they looked like they were going to make another championship run at the beginning of the year. I think they started 10-2 or something crazy, and in the last 17 games, they have the same record as the Washington Wizards. They're 3-14 in their last 17 games.
Damn,
3-14.
I know James is sick.
But yeah, picking up Dennis Schroeder. He hasn't been hitting his shots. The other night against Phoenix, he did hit a clutch shot, played some good defense. Finally, he was about 1 for 8 from 3 that game, but the one shot he made was, the dagger. But a change needs to happen. Steph just said the other day, this team is mid. And that's just sad to hear from Steph,
Damn.
Coming from your star player saying this team is mid. I would be surprised if a change doesn't happen sooner rather than later.
That's kind of
I'll
tough.
give you a hot take for the Warriors right now.
Okay.
Get it over with and go get picks and maybe a young guy for Steph Curry.
Oh, Lord.
That's insane.
Chill.
If you're not going to do whatever you can to build around him, I feel like they are, but it's just not working right now, that he might only give it a couple more years anyway if they're not getting back into the playoffs and making pushes. So, I mean,
Trade him
I'd
to
say
Charlotte.
rip the Band-Aid, get it over with.
LaMelo to Golden State.
Yikes.
That would be
Steph to
fire.
Charlotte.
Yikes. All right, well,
Let's
moving on.
Let's enough of the words.
Alec.
Who you got? Who am I got first?
Celtics, let's start with
Okay.
Boston up top.
So theirs is pretty simple.
Yeah.
Just don't panic when you lose.
I like that.
You know, I've heard a lot of people talking about, oh, the Celtics, you know, they look beatable and this and this. It's like, well, they lose one game and then they win by 50 the next.
Yeah.
So for them, just don't panic when you lose. You're still literally the best team, maybe second best team now in the NBA. But I mean, even though Cleveland has a better record, I still would pick the Celtics to beat Cleveland.
It's hard not to, yeah.
And so for them, it's just really not to panic when you lose.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you know, when it comes down to getting in March and April, just for people to stay healthy.
Yeah, I like that as well. Just staying healthy for them is going to be big because it's going to be tough to beat them in a 7-game series. They are the team to beat in the NBA still.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about it last week. Who's the best potential team to beat them? It's going to be tough for anyone, especially in the East. I think the best chance might be out of the West, but let's move on.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, Devin, your next team is the Minnesota Timberwolves.
All right.
A weird year for them so far.
Timberwolves, very weird year. They're sitting still in the 8th seed at 17 and 15, but
Yeah.
I think if the slide continues and they kind of don't get to where they want to be by the trade deadline, I would think that I would want them to try to move Julius Randle. I don't think that's a good fit. I didn't think it was a good fit when it happened. I knew it kind of seemed weird the first few games, and it still seems weird. So I think you even heard Ant talk about it after a game a couple weeks ago. He was just like, guys just aren't vibing with each other right now. So maybe shaking it up and letting some of the young guys play and getting some run if the slide does continue. But that's hard for me to say because they are sitting at 8 right now. So I'd give it a couple more weeks, continue to see if that slide does happen, and then that's what I think they should do.
I like that.
A couple more weeks.
Yeah.
But
that might be the season though. So
yeah, I also think the Timberwolves need to play their young guys more, like Rob Dillingham and Terrence Shannon Jr., who was huge in the summer league for them, and they're just both seeing no burn right now. And Mike Conley is playing; he's playing better than he was earlier in the year. But I think building around Ant with these young guys would be more beneficial for this team.
Yeah.
So I like that though. Get rid of Julius. It's not a good fit. He's
not working.
I don't know if Julius is a good fit anywhere. If I'm being honest, I'm not
Just
trying to
the
seem
way
like a
he
hater,
plays,
but the way he plays. If I could see him going to Brooklyn or something like that.
Brooklyn and just going to throw up 40 a night.
Yeah, exactly. That's his best role.
Brooklyn's not going to take that though.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't want that. They're smart. They're smart.
Something else.
Yeah,
they
want Cooper.
Yeah, true. I don't think that would affect that honestly, because they're not going to win many games with Julius Randle.
If you got Julius and Cooper on the same
Oh yeah, that wouldn't fit at all.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. All right. Well, Luke, moving on. Let's go to the Dallas Mavericks.
Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
They got to figure out how to win without Luka.
Okay.
Luka is way too injury prone. He's been out 27 games already this season.
That's a lot.
I mean, they are still up there in the 5th seed. They're 20 and 14, but they lost to Houston the other night by I think like 12 or 10, something like that. And that's the 3rd loss in a row for them. So they're kind of struggling right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, Luka's been out for a week and a half now, 2 weeks, or something like that.
Yeah.
So they need to figure out how to be okay without him when he is hurt and when he's out.
I like that.
Or when he's trying to rest.
I like that.
It's going to be tough, though, especially out in the West with Kyrie kind of dwindling a little bit. And then their defense is actually doing pretty good this year, better than a lot of people expected. And then Clay has also kind of been a little, back and forth. Like he's still shooting.
Inconsistent.
He's averaging.
Clay.
Yeah, it's Clay.
It's Clay. You know,
the
that's what you
end-career
expect at this
Clay.
point.
And then you also,
he's gonna shoot his shots. Some nights he's gonna hit him. Some nights he's not.
And then they're gonna question just like, why did we pay him that much?
Yeah.
Just for his name.
Just to average 12 points a game.
his
Yeah, I
name,
mean
like, that's it.
It's a good point.
So yeah, they need to figure out how to win without Luka.
Yeah.
Or this Luka thing might not work for a long time.
Yeah.
I'd say he only has a few more years over there in Dallas.
That's a hot take.
I'm just saying, if they aren't able to make it past the hump, they've been in the playoffs for the past few years.
Yeah. They made it to the finals.
Just made it to the finals.
Yeah. Exactly. So, if they can't do it, then Luka might be looking for something else.
I'd be surprised. But mine for them was, we saw it the other night against the Kings. Get PJ Washington comfortable early in the game. Man,
I was at the game.
Man, you were at that game. Oh my God, he was killing.
The first half.
God, PJ Washington was just putting on a show in Sacramento, and that's I was listening, to the announcers when PJ Washington sees a shot go in. Like I said earlier about Doug McDermott, all you got to do is see one go in, then he's going to be super aggressive. And that game, they had no Kyrie, no Luka, and all that. He knew coming in he was going to have to be the guy, and he had 28 points?
I think 28 points.
So shout out PJ Washington.
Who was it? Spencer Dinwiddie that?
Yeah, Spencer Dinwiddie dropped 30 as well. Yeah. So crazy game.
And then, like I said earlier, whenever some of these players step into Sacramento, it's just like, I'm just gonna.
It's a field day. Field day for them.
I'm gonna be Steph Curry tonight, real quick.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to me. My next team is the Washington Wizards. Shout out to my boy Sebastian. I know you're listening out in London, loyal Wizards fan. It's time to trade Jonas Valanciunas and Kyle Kuzma
to Sacramento.
Neither.
We need Jonas.
I don't want either.
I still want Jonas.
I
still want Jonas. Dude.
I wouldn't hate Valanciunas. I wouldn't love it. He's too slow and he's slow-footed. He's too offensive-minded. He needs the ball in the post. That's not our offense. With Doug Christie, I feel like the Kings are playing more fast, and that's what we need to get back to is playing fast. Play that fast pace. But Kuz, get him out of Washington already. He's sick of it over there. And another one is pray for Cooper. Pray for Cooper for Washington, because if he goes to Washington, that changes the whole trajectory of this team. I think they need to get a top 3 pick. If the NBA doesn't give him a top 3 pick, that's just fucked up.
Yeah, the lottery might be dead pretty soon.
Honestly, that would get people to go to those games.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole and
Coop. Ooh, I'd love that over there. All right, well, moving on to you. Alec, let's see who your next team is. The 76ers. You watched them last night?
Sixers.
Yeah.
Pretty simple for them. Resolution is just mainly Embiid. Yeah. But, just everyone needs to get healthy because, when Embiid plays and, when he plays well, they look like a great team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially, like if Kelly Oubre's playing and, Paul George. If everyone's playing, they look good. But, no Embiid last night, therefore, it was a tough loss for them. But, yeah, for the Sixers, as long as they can keep their guys healthy, I do think they can make a run because they've almost revived their record. I think they're 13-18 or 13-19 now.
In the East, they're up there. They're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
it's
they can pull it off and get to maybe if they don't get a 6 seed, they'll definitely get play-in. So they just got to be healthy.
Yeah, I agree. And I think another one I had for them was get Paul George comfortable with Embiid. We saw last night, PG put on a show, but that was without Joel Embiid. Yep. He hasn't really had a big game with Embiid yet, so just get them two comfortable. Get them on the same page. Yep. But yeah, Devin, moving on to your next team. Who is it? Devin's next team is the Indiana Pacers. You said, how many years ago was that? You're a Pacers fan. When the Paul George was on the Pacers in middle school, Devin said he was a Pacer fan.
16 and 18, they're in the 8 seed right now, but I feel like they got to get back to kind of just get back to what they were doing last year, the pace of play, help Hallie. I feel like Hallie to start the year definitely was just like not playing like he usually is. I mean, they made the the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and it was mostly because of Hallie and the pace that they were playing at. So I think it did just get back to playing like that, and it might not be as simple as that, but trying to simplify it and start off just getting back to the pace of last year, that should help them out a lot.
I like that. And, if they played with more pace, no pun intended, that it'll help Hallie's game. He's been shooting the ball so inconsistently this year, and if they're playing with pace, it's not going to matter if his shots are falling or not. If they're getting up and down the court like last year they had the number 1 ranked offense of all time. And the year before that, the Kings had it. So it's going to change every year with this new NBA. Right now, the Pacers are nowhere near that.
Play with a fast pace.
Exactly. That's what it is. Getting the most shot attempts up, and playing decent defense.
Get the rebound, get the ball to Hallie, and let him play make as quick as he can, and just make those quick decisions. And I feel like they'll get back to how they were last year. Yeah. At least close to that.
Yeah, I like that. All right, well, moving on. Luke, next team is the New York Knicks.
New York Knicks. We talked about it a little bit earlier. I was biting my tongue, holding it back, but they need to be able to rely on the bench. We were saying Tom Thibodeau grinds out these starters and plays them for 35 plus minutes all the time. Same 6 guys, maybe 7.
Yeah.
But like we saw, we brought up Tyler Kolek.
Yep.
He's a great example of just people coming up quick and making an effect immediately. And I feel like there's a lot of people on this bench that could actually do that for Tom.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing that needs to happen down the stretch in the NBA. It's a long season. These players are going to get tired, going to get hurt. So they need to be able to get these players in and get them hot and get them ready for when they need to step up.
Yeah, I like that. And, Tom Thibodeau plays these guys 40-plus minutes, even when they're up 20 against the Wizards. The other night, Mikal Bridges played about 43 minutes, and they won by 20 against the Wizards. I'm looking at the box score like, why? It doesn't make sense. They're not going to be fresh for the playoffs. Last year, we saw the Knicks deal with the most injuries in the playoffs last year. Still had an incredible run, but it got derailed because all of them got injured. So I just hope that doesn't happen again this year. And Tom Thibodeau needs to, wake up and play some of these young guys off the bench.
Rely on your
especially
bench,
when you're
Tom.
up 20 against the Wizards. Why is Mikal Bridges playing 40 minutes? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. Moving on. So my next team actually is the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm the biggest Lakers supporter on this podcast. Not a Laker fan.
Easy thing to say.
I'm a Braun fan, I would say.
Who is this guy?
But I'm going to say don't be done looking to improve and get a center to help AD. All Laker fans are pushing to get a center to help AD down low. He wants to play that 4, and the Lakers just don't have anyone to help him down low right now. They just got Dorian Finney-Smith, who I'm a huge fan of. He had a rough game in his first game in LA, only had 2 points, about 1 or 5 from the field, so it's tough out there in LA.
Yeah.
Once you play with Braun, the shooting kind of leaves you sometimes for some of these guys. Like Kyle Korver, one of the best shooters of all time, couldn't hit a damn shot with LeBron on his team. So I think the Lakers need to keep looking to make moves and get a guy like Walker Kessler. They need to get a guy like Valanciunas. I think Valanciunas would help them a lot more than it would help the Kings. So that's my New Year's resolution for the Lakers.
Okay.
Yeah. Shout out Braun. Oh, happy 40th, Braun. Happy 40th, Braun. But yeah.
You're glorious king.
Oh, also, a stat about LeBron. So LeBron is 40 years old, greatest player of all time. Can't say it enough. His averages for his career are 27 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. He's played over 1,000 games in the NBA. Do you know he's never had that exact stat in his career? 27, 7, and 7.
I saw that
a
week or two
That's his
ago, yeah.
averages for his career. He's never had that one time in his career. 27.7 rebounds, 7 assists. There was one time where there was 30 seconds left in a game. He had the stat. It was a big thing. He shot a 3 from the logo and it went in. So he had 30 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. So shout out Braun.
I bet Jordan had 27, 7.
Stat ever.
Yeah, LeBron's a GOAT, bro. Hennessy, shout out.
Insane, dude.
Insane. My team.
Le GOAT. Okay, Alex team. Yeah, sorry. The next team is the Oklahoma City Thunder.
He's busy glazing.
Oklahoma City Thunder. It's his 40th, bro. You got
Okay,
it.
see, so my resolution for them, pretty simple, is just to keep winning. And then when you get to the playoffs, just win a playoff series. They're the best team.
I don't know why that's so funny.
I was like, they're the best team in the West, and they've proven that. I think they're on a 12-game win streak, and SGA's proven that he's either the leading candidate or, top 2, top 3 in MVP.
He's the MVP right now, in my opinion, yeah.
For them, yeah, I mean, they don't even have Chet. They just got to keep winning games. Once Chet comes back, keep winning games when he comes back. Then when they get to the playoffs, just win a playoff series. And then from there, it's like we can judge because they didn't win last year.
They won one series last year.
Yeah.
They beat the Pelicans in the first round.
Oh, that's
Pelicans
right.
were hurt. Then they lost to Dallas.
That's right.
That's why I was laughing a little bit, just because they won last year. But I do like that. They're still so young. I don't think they need to rush anything.
Yeah, and then, I forgot that they beat the Pelicans
Yeah.
just because the Pelicans
They were injured. They didn't have Zion. It was,
But I guess then it would be for them to just maybe make it to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Mine for them had one was don't be afraid to go get Cam Johnson. All these teams, Kings are supposedly the number 1 suitor for Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
No, nobody has enough to get him besides the Thunder. The Thunder could give up 4 first-round picks, and they would still have 12 over the next 2 years. They have so many first-round picks and so many young guys. I think if they want to trade a guy like Nikola Topic, who hasn't seen the floor all year, he's been hurt all year, one of the top picks in the draft, trade him. Trade a couple other guys, get Cam Johnson to help this 3-point shooting of this team, and this team is unbeatable. They're already looking unbeatable, but if they get a guy like Cam Johnson, that would fit perfectly in with this team. So I'd be scared.
I'm a little butthurt that they have all of these these pieces.
Sam Presti is the best
anything.
GM of all time. It's insane.
Hey,
yeah.
Not yet though, because they need to win a ring.
They do need to win a ring.
For
Facts.
him to be labeled that,
Yeah.
and because I mean he drafted this big team, but they do need to win before we could give him that title.
Have a positive outcome. On the
but they can get Cam Johnson super easily, and it wouldn't affect anything about their future or their team right now. So it's scary to think about. But okay, moving on. Back to Devin. Your next team is the San Antonio Spurs.
Spurs. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. This is a really obvious one.
Yeah.
But play through Wemby as much as possible.
Yeah.
That's when their offense looks the best and is at the best, and when he's confident, jacking 30-foot threes, and it's amazing to watch. So just play through him as much as possible. They're sitting at 9 right now. Maybe look to make a not too big of a move, maybe one on the margins, because I feel like they got good young pieces right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
they're a good team.
that's mine for the Nets. Play through Wemby, or the Spurs. Play through Wemby as much as possible.
I like that. When they do, they're unstoppable. And some of the passes Wemby was making the other night, just slinging it to the other side of the court, it was insane. I couldn't believe it.
He's super fun to watch.
Yeah.
And when he's controlling the offense and they're playing through him, it just makes it even.
You don't think they need to add another piece around him to?
I would say not too big of a piece. Don't go and trade a couple of your young guys for somebody maybe an aging star, but maybe a move on the margins to bolster maybe the bench or the depth if they're shorthanded anywhere like that. But nothing too huge, I think.
Yeah,
okay.
I think CP's been the perfect vet for that team. And
HB.
And HB, shout out. He's been playing great.
Getting more minutes.
Oh,
Stephon Castle's been having a big effect.
Stephon Castle's so good. We can't talk about him enough.
As long as they could keep guys like Castle and even Sochan, who's a good young guy, plays hard and is going to give you his full effort out there, then I feel like making a margin move without giving up either of them or some of their other young guys is something they should look to do, but for now, just play through Wemby.
Yeah, I like that. All right, well, last team, and then we'll take another break, and then we'll jump back in. So, Luke, your next team, let's give you the Los Angeles Clippers.
The Clippers, all right. They need to figure out how to win on the road.
Okay.
They struggle on the road a lot.
Wow.
I think they're like 8 and 9 on the road, but at home, I think they're 12 and 6.
Okay.
If they can do that when Kawhi comes back, maybe that's the missing piece.
Yeah.
Maybe Kawhi needs to come back and have that effect on the defense over there. But they're a solid team. They're sitting at 6, 19 and 14 in the West, a scary Western Conference. So pretty impressive what they've been able to do.
Sure.
Norman Powell stepping up, probably going to be most improved player of the year. That's
the oldest, most improved player of all time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, he's tough. He's tough.
I mean, it's cool to see. Everybody kind of clowns on the Clippers. Just they're the Lakers' kind of little weird cousin kind of thing. But it's cool to see them. I love underdogs. I love seeing teams like this step up. So if they can figure out how to win on the road, then they're going to be a playoff team, a strong one.
I like that. And it shows that the Intuit Dome, the new arena, is a big part of their winning. Obviously the home and away record is a big difference.
Exactly.
But getting Kawhi back really soon, he just dropped a commercial, teasing his return. And they're going to be a scary team. I think I'm more afraid to play this Clippers team with Kawhi and Harden and Derek Jones than I was before when they had Paul George and all those other guys. I think this team is more well-rounded and better fit to go on a playoff run.
Yeah.
So if Kawhi can be healthy, it's going to be a scary team to play.
Yep.
But all right, well, we'll jump back into it in a couple minutes. Beam City Sports.
Cheers.
All right, we are back from our short break on Beam City Sports, going over one New Year's resolution for all 30 NBA teams. We left off with Luke talking about the LA Clippers. Now moving on to me with the Phoenix Suns. My New Year's resolution for them is to find a better center. Yusuf Nurkic is not doing the job for them. And, we saw him get into a fight the other night with Najee Marshall. But Yusuf Nurkic, when he's on the floor, is just not playing well for this Phoenix Suns team. And they've had a really up and down year, down in the standings where the Kings are, about 11 or 12 in the standings right now. So Phoenix needs a better center and figure out what they're going to do with Bradley Beal, because Bradley Beal has that huge contract. He also has a no trade clause, so he can determine where he goes, but it's not a good fit with this Phoenix Suns team. So, get a better center.
It's always been a weird vibe out there.
It has
for the past 3 or 4 seasons
since they made the finals.
Ever since they made the finals, and I don't know,
because they blew that team up.
Yeah.
I feel like you could say at least they're in a position to get some draft capital back with they could trade KD if they want. That's going to net them probably a pretty good haul. They could trade I mean, if they really want to blow it up, they trade D. But like, they're in a spot to where if they really want to, I feel like they're in a good position to kind of low key have like a start to a Oklahoma City Thunder rebuild, to where they just collect all those picks for all your star players and then just start from there. If they want to, I'm not saying they should.
I don't know.
They can still figure it out.
Yeah, because they traded all of their future first-round picks for KD. Yeah. So it's like they can't afford to lose because they don't even have their own first-round pick. So it's like they're in a weird spot. You got to build around KD and Book, but find better guys to support that. So, all right, moving on to Alex's next team, the Denver Nuggets.
Nuggets, let's see. So for them, I just said to play Russell Westbrook.
I like it, yeah.
And then also to develop their young bench. So, Luke said it earlier, and it's kind of why I wanted to hold off. When the Nuggets start Russell Westbrook, they are 9-2, and when he plays more than 30 minutes, when he plays more than 30 minutes, they are 8-2. So last night he started. He only played 25 minutes, but he started, and they ended up with the W. And I've been seeing Russ and Jokic. They look real comfortable with each other. I think Jokic is just happy to have someone like Westbrook figure it out and find a rhythm on his team.
Yeah.
To where, because Russ always plays hard.
Yeah.
And I seen, a comment on Instagram saying, like, Russ kind of, like, not bullied, but because he plays so tough, it kind of forced Jamal Murray and MPJ to start playing better, and that's why they're starting to win more games too.
Yeah, love Russ. Shout out to Russ. You've been your guy since day one.
Yep. My kids asked me who was my favorite player growing up. I mean, Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook. Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to the next team. Back to Devin. Your last team on the list is the Brooklyn Nets, who just got D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah. So Nets, I feel like they just traded DFS. They got D'Lo. Kind of let D'Lo rock out. He's back on the Nets. Kind of let him do what he did the years there he was before, and then go out and get your guy in the draft.
Yeah, I like that. Find your number one coming up in the draft. They're gonna have a top pick if they continue losing like they are now. Yeah, get Ace Bailey, get Dylan Harper, something like that. Bring some excitement to Brooklyn.
Somebody you feel really comfortable building around him, building around them, and maybe D'Lo too for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Somebody you feel really comfortable building everything else around.
And Jordy Fernandez is such a good coach that, the rest of the year, he kind of just needs to chill out because he's too good of a coach. They're going to continue winning games no matter who they have because of him as the coach, and they can't afford to keep winning games because they need that top pick. So, yeah, Luke, moving on to your next team.
Say something about Jordy.
Oh, yeah, say something about that boy Jordy.
I kind of wish it was him instead of Mike Brown.
I mean, don't we all? Yeah.
He was the head coach. He would have brought the defensive mindset that we're looking for right now. Like, I feel like that's why Brooklyn's winning the amount of games that they are with this kind of shaky team. I mean, they are struggling right now. They're 2-8 in the last 10.
Yeah.
That's what you expect when the team starts to hit the ground or like just kind of figure everything out this late in the season, or kind of in this part of the season. But yeah, I miss Jordy. I wish he was staying.
Yeah. Shout out to Jordy. All right, well, Luke, your next team.
Got the Miami Heat. Pretty plain and simple. They need to ship Butler.
Yeah.
He needs to get out of there.
It's time.
Build around Hero and Bam.
Yeah.
Like, Hero's been going off quite a bit lately.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, they need to build around him, get Butler out. He said in an interview the other day, like, he doesn't really want to be there.
Yeah, his energy is just off. It's just,
Pat Riley said they're not getting rid of him.
He did that for leverage, if we're being honest. Pat Riley's one of the smartest. He's one of the smartest in the NBA. And Jimmy Butler going out and kind of making it known that he wants to get traded is tough for them because then that lowers his value. Then other teams know that he wants to be out. We're not going to offer you as much.
Yeah.
Pat Riley goes out and says, we're not trading Jimmy Butler. So now you're going to have to offer a little more if you really want to get him. But, they're playing mind games over there. They're always playing mind games. But, yeah, find a spot for Jimmy. The other night, he shot a one-legged three early in the shot clock. It looks like he's messing around out there. I just don't like Jimmy's energy right now. And Tyler Hero and Bam are such a good duo playing so well together. He's messing it up. So get rid of Jimmy right now.
Get rid of Jimmy.
While you can get something for him. All right, well, moving on. My next team is the Cleveland Cavaliers. A tough team to find a New Year's resolution for. Best record in the NBA. Number one in the Eastern Conference, of course. Surprise year for them. I don't know if any of us expected them to be this good.
Not at all.
So my New Year's resolution is don't trade any of your key role players because they have so many good guys off the bench. George Niang, Max Strus,
Yep.
Dean Wade. I could go down the list. Craig Porter Jr. All these guys on Cleveland off the bench are making huge impacts this year. And there's some talks about them trying to go get someone else, a bigger name to help them out. I don't think they should get rid of anyone. And, go in the playoffs, like we said earlier about some other teams like Houston. Go in the playoffs with this team, with this new coach, see what happens, then see what you need in the offseason, maybe make some moves then. So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel
Stay
like
pat.
a lot of people thought that Donovan was going to be traded at this point.
It was a big talk.
Yeah, it was a big talk at the beginning of the year, but then Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland going back and
Perfect
forth.
together now,
They're perfect together. And then Jared Allen's being I think he's close to leading the league in rebounds.
And Mobley's having a crazy year too on the offensive end. I didn't think Mobley would ever reach this level on the offensive end because he's always been a great defensive player, but his three-point shot is better than I ever thought it would be. So shout out to Evan Mobley.
Probably because there's no distractions out in Cleveland.
Yeah.
They can just play basketball.
Yeah.
They don't got to do anything.
And Donovan Mitchell's made it known that he's comfortable staying in Cleveland, which is huge for them. It's going to be, it's hard to get any star player that's not born in Akron, Ohio, to go to Cleveland. So, keep Donovan Mitchell there as long as you can because he's a top player in the league, and I think they're going to be scary in the playoffs. So,
for sure.
Yeah. All right, moving on to your next team, Alec. The Detroit Pistons. Detroit Pistons. We saw them a couple nights ago against the Kings.
Mine is pretty simple. For their resolution is just to make the play-in.
Yeah, I like that.
Last year they only won 14 games.
Yeah.
I think now they're at 15 games.
Yeah.
So for them, we are already seeing a ton of improvement. I think, for them, they should just try to get to the play-in, maybe even host a play-in if possible.
Yeah.
Bring some extra, spark and excitement to Detroit because obviously, we all know the Lions are great, but they don't care about basketball right now because of the football team and how good their football team is. So if they can, bring some noise into the basketball and kind of say, hey, look, like we're back and we're exciting to watch too, then I think that should be their goal. Whether they win or not, that doesn't matter as long as they can make it there for the first time in a while. I think that's big for them.
That's exactly what I had for them. I said, fuck the pick, make the play-in. Get Cade some playoff experience.
Yeah.
Get him in some high leverage games because Cade Cunningham is so good. He's elite. And, Jaden Ivey's been playing so good in his third year in the league. The other night, he had to be taken off to a stretcher. So sad to see he's probably going to be out for the year. But Jaden Ivey, he's the one that hit that 4-point play when we were at Wall at the game. So shout out to Jaden Ivey.
That one hurt.
That one hurt. But he's having a big year, and the Pistons are a very good team this year. I love watching them play. So I like that. That's exactly what I had. All right, well, Luke, your next team.
The Utah Jazz.
Yeah, the Utah Jazz.
They're obviously a team that we all knew was going to be struggling for sure.
Yeah.
A team that could probably drop down to the bottom of the league and maybe get Cooper.
Yeah.
But we have seen, there's spurts of talent on their team. They have a lot of young talent that they could work with. They just signed Lauri Markkanen to that big contract. He was kind of on the trade block a little bit, but I think they might be holding on to him, maybe trying to build around him a little bit more. But I don't think he's that guy to build around and only him.
I agree.
I feel like they need to make a trade pretty soon. They need to make some sort of move. Maybe get rid of Sexton or Clarkson.
That's exactly what I had. Trade both those guys.
Yeah. They're the only ones on your team that really have any trade capital.
Yeah. And they're both playing so well.
They're both playing really well, but the rest of your team, you kind of want to keep. These are players that are going to develop.
The young guys, These guys they could help championship contenders right now. So go get something for them.
They're I think they're both kind of running at the end of their contract with the Jazz.
So a winning team could go out and get them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So these are two players that should be on the trade block right now and could be, anywhere in the next 2 weeks.
I like that. That's what I had too. Find your guy in the draft like Brooklyn, pray for Cooper.
Exactly.
But I'm sure the Utah fans would love to have Cooper Flag. We all know why. Also keep Lauri Markkanen. We all know why. But those fans in Utah would love to see Coop out there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, moving on to the Atlanta Hawks for me. My New Year's resolution for them, it was tough because they came into the year, no one expected them to be good. They're actually a lot better than we all expected. Dyson Daniels was one of my breakout players coming into the year. It's shown that he's the best perimeter defender in the NBA. But I said hold on to DeAndre Hunter. He's been playing so well for them, scoring the ball off the bench. He's been a big person in trade talks all year long, but his value is at an all-time high right now. and I think he's a perfect fit for this Atlanta Hawks team. You know, a long 3-and-D player for them, so keep him out in Atlanta. That was my New Year's resolution. So,
I like that.
Yeah, all right.
Like it.
Okay, for Alec, your next team is the Milwaukee Bucks.
Bucks. Honestly, the Bucks is kind of tough, but I just said keep Giannis happy.
Yeah.
Because they were so bad to start, and they finally made it over the hump. They're 6th seed, I think, or 7th seed. They're somewhere down there.
5th seed.
5th seed now.
Seed.
But I mean, they honestly have good role players on their bench. They're all starting to play well.
Yeah.
I just said the reason you want to keep Giannis happy is because you don't want him to leave.
Yeah.
And so if they can sneak in, like 5 or 6, they can easily win those playoff series to get to the conference finals and maybe make another push for a championship. So I think for them, Dame has also been a huge impact this year. He's been playing a lot better.
Yeah.
So just keep Giannis happy, and they're gonna win games. Like it's almost the same as who was it? The Magic and the Heat. Like as long as they're just staying in the 1 through 6.
Yeah.
If they get to the plan, then it's up for grabs.
Yeah, true. I like that.
Yeah, stay in the play-in or playoffs, and then they can easily win.
Yeah, and mine for them was find a way to beat the Celtics. They won the NBA Cup. They didn't have to go through Boston to get there. So, but in the beginning of the year, Milwaukee was really struggling. They got off to a super slow start. Giannis didn't look happy. But looking back on some of my takes earlier in the year, I kind of look like a jackass for saying Giannis is not going to be on the Bucks next year because there's no way in hell Milwaukee is letting Giannis go for anything. I think Giannis is going to be a Buck for life, honestly. Yeah. I don't think Milwaukee will ever do anything to make him want to leave, and he's arguably the best player, top 3 for sure player in the league. Easily. So Milwaukee's never going to get another guy at that, at that level. So I just got to say, it was a dumbass take for me to say he's going to leave Milwaukee because there's no way he's leaving Milwaukee.
Well, at the time, all the rumors were flying around.
Yeah,
so that's probably
but that was about 10 games into the year. It's like
also,
jumping ship too
winning
fast.
Winning really cures everything. So
yeah, exactly.
Once they start winning, then all those talks quiet down. So you're not going to hear anything about that anytime soon.
Exactly. So you have any more teams? Either of you? I don't think so.
No. I did want to say something about the Raptors.
Okay.
Obviously, I think they're going to be a team that will be back up in top. They're obviously back in the reset mode right now. They're trying to get back. No, not right now.
Okay.
What? No.
Yeah, no way.
Later this year.
No. But I think they need to build around Scotty. Scotty is going to be a star at some point.
He is.
That's what I like.
Mean, they were injured too. So
They were injured for sure.
Ruined their year.
Davion just came back, which is like he's actually
same with Quickly. Quickly, you were big on Quickly coming into the year, and he's been hurt for most of it so far.
Yep. Building around Scotty is definitely their key, and I think they need to make they might need to make another trade to find someone kind of more developed to fit around him right now.
Yeah, they'll get a good pick this year. RJ's been great this year too. Yeah.
Honestly, I like the Raptors team. It's just they have a lot of young guys too, and they're also like all these guys that just got traded there. They need to kind of grow as a team together.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the one year where they're just bad.
Yeah.
And then next year, they get a good draft pick.
Yeah.
And all of them start to play well.
Stack draft.
And also, so mine for them was let Jacoby Walter rock out. I don't know if you guys know a lot about him, but he is a rookie right now, and he is killing. He's a shooter out there in Toronto. When he plays very well. So let Jacoby rock out and, see where the year takes you. Get a top pick. Get a top 5 pick.
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah, fuck around and find out. All right, well, another team is the Chicago Bulls. Got to mention them is trade Zach LaVine, and keep the pick. That their top 10 protected first-round pick this year is up for grabs. Right now they are sitting at the 10th spot in the Eastern Conference. That would not get them a top 10 pick in the draft. So trade your guys. Trade Nikola Vucevic. Trade Zach LaVine. Start losing games. They're winning way too many games. And the Chicago Bulls team desperately needs a young draft pick to come in and make an impact. So
for sure,
get rid of your guys and keep the pick. So.
I feel like a lot of people are wanting the wrong guard, though, from Chicago. People are wanting Kobe White right now.
He's going to stay, I think.
Well, he's definitely going to stay, but I feel like a lot of people are just like, yeah, we'll take Zach LaVine, but give us Kobe White also, and we'll give you this person.
Yeah, they're not going to trade Kobe White. Yeah. All right, well, Alec, your next team?
Yep.
Charlotte Hornets.
For them, let's see. I said it kind of revolves around one person, which it should. But
Yeah.
I said LaMelo, he needs to stay healthy. The resolution is to keep him healthy, and then also to keep him happy, because that team in Charlotte is terrible. They're honestly so bad.
Yeah.
His second, I mean, he likes Miles Bridges, but like really their second best player is Brandon Miller, and they have no one else. If they can somehow build around LaMelo and Brandon Miller and just acquire pieces and maybe even figure something out with the coaching, but they just need to somehow keep LaMelo happy. That way he stays in Charlotte, because otherwise, I mean, his loyalty is up for grabs too. I mean, I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know if he wants to stay or not. I mean, who wants to stay in Charlotte when they're all playing so bad?
Yeah, that's
You see
what
that
I had
thing
for
he said
them.
where he was like, as long as I'm not in Lithuania and I got running water, like,
Yeah.
he doesn't care where he's.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
We'll see if that really holds true.
Their center, Mark Williams. Both
Love
of
his
them,
game. Yeah.
He's great, but their chemistry is the thing that's kind of struggling with right now.
Oh.
I've seen some beef kind of come up between them. Like,
Okay.
it's just, I feel like if they can figure whatever they have going on right now, be some grown men and play basketball,
Yeah.
then I feel like they could make a step in the next few years for sure.
Okay, I like that. That's exactly what I had for Charlotte on mine, was give Melo a reason to stay in Charlotte, because you need him to stay. And, a way to do that this offseason, go sign Lonzo Ball. Get those Ball brothers together.
Is he a free agent?
Yeah,
After this year?
maybe sign Jello too. Fuck it. Maybe get all three of them together. Put LeVar on that coaching staff.
did, and if he
Anything
did
to
get
get
off the
Melo to
D-League
stay.
squad, bruh.
Yeah, anything to get LaMelo to stay in Charlotte, I would do it if
That'd
I'm
be
them.
dope. I'd do the Lonzo thing.
I'd do the Lonzo.
I think that'd be dope.
Jello's kind of out of. He's making music now, I guess. But shouldn't have mentioned that. Sorry.
Trying to make it.
Yeah.
If you can get
Lonzo.
then that'll definitely make LaMelo happier.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And they might be good together. They might be solid.
I mean, bro, if Lonzo's healthy too, and he's able to stay healthy, if both of them are able to stay healthy, that could be a pretty fun backcourt.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just the Ball
That
brothers.
Chino
Yeah.
Hills backcourt.
Yeah.
So-
I could see that happening.
Lonzo actually just dunked the ball for the first time in
3 years.
3 years.
3 years. Last night had his first dunk in 3 years. Shout out
See.
Zo2.
Yep. Saw him play here in Sac.
Oh, yeah.
Against Dylan Brooks.
Yeah.
It's UCLA and Oregon. That's
Yeah,
a pretty
me
good
and Luke
game.
saw Lonzo play on UCLA in the tournament, and they won. So, shout out Zoe. All right, well, a couple more teams to fly through here. I think they're all on me. Portland Trailblazers for me. Trade DeAndre Ayton and Anthony Simons and get your number one pick in the draft.
What about Jeremy Grant?
Also Jeremy Grant as well. Yeah, trade them all. Trade them all. Let Shaedon Sharp and Scoot Henderson rock out. Both those young guys need more. Games under their belt. That's what I should say.
Would you, now that DFS is off the board, would you take Jeremy Grant too?
In Sac?
In Sac? Or?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's tough because his contract is
tough.
so much bigger, and
True.
DFS is a way better defender. Jeremy Grant is not that good of a defender, if we're being honest. He can shoot the ball, but
Yeah.
and some nights I look at Portland's box score. Jeremy Grant has 2 points. He's 1 of 10 from the field, and I'm like, I don't want that here in
That's
Sac.
exactly that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, we can't trade a guy that's doing that to get another guy
Yeah.
that's going to do the same thing. So I don't think Jeremy Grant should come to Sac. It's tough though. There's
is
not a
tough.
lot of guys now that DFS is off the board. All right, well, Memphis Grizzlies, New Year's resolution for them: get another 3-and-D wing. Jalen Wells starting at that 3 has looked amazing for them. He's been a bright spot. Marcus Smart hasn't been the best for them. They thought he's going to be that defensive player of the year caliber, but he's not. So get a guy like Cam Johnson. I think Jeremy Grant or Kyle Kuzma would fit way better with Memphis because they have a better surrounding cast than the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
And they're top in the West right now. I think that would help them in a playoff series.
For sure.
Honestly, I would disagree. I don't think
Oh.
Memphis should do anything.
Well, you're Jalen Wells.
Well, I mean,
I think he should come off the bench.
No matter what happens
Yeah.
with Jalen, it doesn't matter to me. Like,
Yeah.
I just think because all their draft picks, everyone they brought up, like they've all just shown that they can develop all these guys.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, like, if Jaw's out, Bane's out, Jaren Jackson's out, they're still winning games.
They
That's
are.
why they're the 2nd or 3rd seed.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for them, I just, and they're still in a good spot. They don't have to panic when anyone's hurt, And Gigi Jackson still hasn't been playing. So once you get him back, I just don't think they need to do anything. For them, it's really just kind of, at least in my opinion, they just need to maybe get back to the Western Conference Finals like when they first did and see if they can, spark something else like when they first brought all of those guys together, like when Ja was, kind of showing that he was capable of being, one of the best point guards in the league.
Yeah, I like that. Honestly, that's a good argument because they do develop all their young guys so well, no matter who it is. Yeah. Pick him up from the G League. He's going to play big minutes on this team and be great. Scottie Pippen Jr. Mm-hmm. No one signed him last year. He's in the G League. I watched him play against the Santa Cruz Warriors. Now, when Ja's out, he's one of the best backup point guards in the NBA. Yep. So, shout out to Memphis, but I do think a Cam Johnson. Don't you think Cam Johnson would be a nice fit on this team? I mean, if you didn't have to give up too much.
Cam would be a nice fit on any team. Yeah. Realistically, I think if we're talking about Miami again, I think Cam Johnson would just be a better trade to go to Miami.
Okay.
But I mean, who knows? Obviously, Cam Johnson's up for grabs, but I would like to see Memphis just kind of keep the core and keep those guys.
Okay, I like that. That's a good argument. All right, well, the last team on our board, we've been through all 29 so far. Now one more to finish it off at 30. New Orleans Pelicans, the least exciting team in the NBA right now. They have lost 11 games in a row in 19 of their last 20 games. They've lost 19 of their last 20. Coming into the year, I thought they were going to be pretty good. If they were healthy.
Obviously,
last year they beat the Kings 6 times, and Zion just hasn't played.
I had him up at like the 3 or 4 seed.
Yeah. It wasn't a bad take, but I mean, now with all their guys that just can't stay healthy.
Get everybody out of there.
Yeah, get everyone out. That was my New Year's resolution. Trade CJ McCollum, trade Ingram, trade DeJounte Murray, even though you just got him. I don't know about trading Zion, though. That's the one I'm a little iffy on.
If I could get Zion off my hands for something even relatively good, I'd do it.
But when he plays, he's so good.
I mean, but how many games has he played for them in the last 5 years?
It's rough out there for Big Z, but
I don't think anybody wants him either.
Yeah,
nobody wants Zion.
They're not going to get a lot in return for any of these guys, if we're being honest. But I think CJ McCollum is the first domino that needs to fall for them.
I think you could get a good little package for CJ.
Yeah, he could help a winning team.
Oh yeah,
that needs a little shooter.
Yeah. And get a top 3 pick as well. I could see Dylan Harper. I'm calling it now. Dylan Harper's going to go to New Orleans. I think I already see it in my head. I see him fitting in that jersey. I see him being a nice guard out there to bring some energy back to this team. Next year, remember I said that Dylan Harper's going to New Orleans. So
all right.
Imagine they get like the 3rd pick and don't pick him.
Well, I think he's going number 2. Honestly,
one or 2.
Yeah.
2 or 3, whichever.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all 30 teams in the NBA we've been over. New Year's resolution for all of them. So before we close out, you guys have anything on the NFL? It's heating up. Playoffs are coming.
There's not much. I guess who's all locked in right now? The Phillies locked in. We got
Phillies.
No, Phillies.
Okay.
The Eagles. Yeah. Sorry.
Locked in on baseball. My bad.
Eagles
Phillies
are locked. Detroit is locked.
No. Well, yeah, Detroit's locked. Yeah.
Not for the first seed.
Detroit's
locked. Minnesota's locked.
Packers are locked.
Packers are locked. I think the Rams are locked. The only one
it's going to come down
is the NFC
Commanders
is the South. Yeah. The NFC South.
The
Bucks need to win, and if the Falcons win and the Bucks lose, then I think it goes down to points. Obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure the Bucks are in control.
Yeah. I mean, they most likely will win.
Yeah.
Especially because Baker's looking out for his guy, Mike Evans. He's finna throw him 100 yards so he can get 1,000.
They're also playing the Saints, so they're probably gonna get banged on. So
that division is terrible.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs are 15-1. And
15-1 on some of the not best play ever. Like Patrick Mahomes is having not the greatest year ever, but that defense is better than they were last year.
I think there's been like 10 games where they've only won by 2 or like something like that.
Steve Spagnuolo and that defense are having an even better year than they did last year. It's insane.
Yeah,
no, it's been a weird NFL year for sure. I feel like it's kind of been all over the place. A lot of people aren't expecting anything.
All right, well. Throw out who's winning the Super Bowl. Devin, who you going right now? You got to put $100 on it.
If I had to, all right. Well, I'll show you what I want to. I want Detroit to make it, but after that game,
shout out M.
Their defense is just
it's not gonna last.
It might lose them. It might make them a first round exit. But I'd probably say if it's not going to be the Chiefs, I really don't want it to be the Chiefs. I'd pick the Vikings, bro.
I like that.
Whoa.
Give me the Vikings, sleeper.
Okay.
It's definitely going to be Baltimore.
Yeah.
Baltimore's winning this shit.
I want Baltimore to come out of the AFC, for sure.
Baltimore is the most dominant team, for sure, in the league right now. People say the Chiefs, but they're frauds, for sure. They're going to be out the first round.
Baltimore's the most dominant?
Yes. I think Baltimore will be the most dominant team going into the playoffs.
Okay.
You know,
what about you, Tyler?
if I had to put money on, I'd say the Bills. I think this is the Bills' year.
It would, yeah. No,
Yeah, I think this is the year they beat the Chiefs.
that is the other team that I really like.
Yeah.
But Lamar is just, I picked
love
Lamar over Josh Allen. Not gonna lie.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a
I
tough
think
one.
obviously there's a lot more quarterback talent on the AFC side, but
Yeah.
I think the way the Vikings are playing right now, and with Kevin O'Connell and their defense has been pretty good for the last 2 years. I think that they're going to make a pretty good run at it.
Okay.
I hope the Vikings do, because that would be fun to watch. But unfortunately, I do think the Eagles
I knew you were gonna say
are a
that.
front runner
Yeah.
because of Saquon, and their
Yeah.
defense has also been
That
really
is true.
good.
Yeah.
I would like to see the Lions too, because I think Jared Goff and Jahmyr Gibbs and that whole squad.
They only made one Super Bowl, and it was in the 50s.
Obviously, unfortunately, their whole defense is injured,
Yeah.
but I would love to see the Lions or the Vikings. However, I think out of the NFC, it's probably going to be the Eagles. And then out of the AFC, obviously, we don't want the Chiefs. So I am going to rock with the Bills to make it if of course, they can beat the Chiefs.
Patty's a goat, though. It's gonna be tough.
say,
Not the goat. Tom Brady's the goat.
A dark horse.
My bad.
He can
my
get
bad.
there, though. He can definitely get there. I mean, that's honestly, like, when you're a fan, like, for me, I was a Tom Brady fan. So when you're a fan and, like, you're able to witness this, you don't realize, like, how much hate the guy gets. And so being on the opposite side of it, Patrick Mahomes is literally catching up to Tom Brady, and I don't want it to happen. So because he's so good, especially me, I'm starting to see, like, damn, this is probably what Tom Brady was getting, like, all this hate.
Yeah.
Everyone hated him.
Yeah.
Everyone hated the Patriots. Everyone hated, this, and this. And, the refs were doing it for the Patriots. Well, it's exactly what's happening
Well,
with
it's
the
even more
Chiefs.
sus now, I will say.
Yeah. Okay.
I gotta say, also a dark horse for sure that I could see making a run are the Commanders with
I really
Jaden
like that,
Daniels.
yeah.
Shout out.
I like the Commanders a lot, and I feel like Jaden Daniels might be able to kind of will this team to a good playoff run for sure.
It'd be fun. All right. Well, anything on your Niners, Dev, before we close out?
No.
No.
No comment. No. Don't draft a running back in the first 3 rounds.
What do
Don't
you
draft
mean?
a kicker
Draft
in the
Cam
first 3
Scatterbo.
rounds. Cam Scatterbo won't go in the first 3 rounds, but I do want him.
That would be lit.
Yeah, that's mini CMC right there.
CMC
shout out-
and
They
Cam
need to
Scatterbo.
just draft all D-line and all O-line. That's all I'll say.
Shout
That's
out
all I'll
Real
say.
Linda legend,
Yeah.
Sac State legend, Cam
Real.
Scatterbo.
Oh, shit.
Bro went crazy for ASU. I feel like this year really put him on the map. Obviously, everyone from Sac, we already knew about
Keep going
him.
to the league.
Yeah, everyone from Sac already
easily.
knew about him, but especially that game the other night, what Cam Scatterbo did, everyone was put on notice of what he's capable of, and so, yeah, I mean, he's for sure going to get drafted, especially after that performance, and so
Oh yeah.
I am excited to see where he will end up.
Shout out to Sac. All right, well, we're going to close out another episode of Beam City Sports at the bar. We're going to make this a reoccurring thing. Every Saturday, we're going to be at the bar, and every Wednesday, we'll be back at the radio, us 3 back at the radio. Dev will be joining us for every bar episode. Shout out to Dev. All right, well, we're closing out Beam City Sports.
Beam City Sports. Cheers.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.